So, folks, we have to talk about Glenn Beck. Because Glenn Beck has been hard at work in the shadows. Far from the sight of mankind. Far from the waking world of daywalkers. He's been working in his secret laboratory. And he has figured it out. He's cracked the code. Okay? And I think it's really important because he claims to have proof of who really rules the world. And I, for one, I would love proof of who runs the world. Objective information to that effect would be very useful for us to make our decisions accordingly. I look forward to his in-depth analysis. Like this is some world-shattering stuff, and Glenn Beck, he's the man who cracked the code. So let's check it out. All right, this proves who really runs the world. Let's check it out.
Okay, so Chris Wright.
Well, you guys can't see that. Clearly, whoever runs the world doesn't want you to have this info. There we go.
Our energy secretary told in an exclusive interview with the Free Beacon that the Department of Energy under Donald Trump is preparing to finance up to 10 nuclear power plants to give us a renaissance of nuclear energy. I have to tell you, I am both thrilled about this and a little pissed. And maybe it's just me. But we've been talking about nuclear energy since I was a little kid. We've known that nuclear energy was the answer since the 1950s. But we've not wanted to do it. And there's been all kinds of protests and all kinds of lefties that are out saying, oh, you can't do that. You'll kill everybody on the planet. In the meantime, we have not built nuclear energy plants. Okay, haven't built them. We have reinvented them. We've made them small. There's no China syndrome, nothing else. But
how do you reinvent them if you're not building them? I'm pretty sure we've built more modern nuclear power plants.
They've been there for a while now. Still can't do it. Oh, the planet is going to catch on fire soon. It's going to be so hot and we're all going to die. Nuclear energy, which has zero emissions? No, we can't.
I'm sorry.
My other fellow triplet sister graduated from physical therapy school today. Hypers peepo cheer.
The newest reactor to enter service is the Vogtle Unit 4 that went into operation last year in 2024 in Georgia. So, he's just incorrect on that one. But I suppose he didn't care to check.
Do that because maybe, possibly, what if, even though it is the safest energy man has ever...
God, I feel terrible because I'm agreeing with Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck is correct. Pound for pound, nuclear energy is safer than just about any... it's safer than almost any other energy source on the planet that we've discovered so far. The main problem is we have ways of effectively and safely storing nuclear waste, but in a capitalist system, it's expensive to properly store nuclear waste, and corporations don't want to pay that money. So what winds up happening is that these plants dispose of their radioactive material in far less than safe ways, which is not great. Yeah, also, a lot of nuclear waste can, in fact, be recycled into nuclear power plants. Like, the waste is just not an issue, really, if we are smart with it. And it just seems to me we should be building on a mass scale a lot of nuclear energy. I will also say that there are huge problems with nuclear, like, fissile material extraction, especially concerning because it is done largely to groups of people who are powerless in the face of billion-dollar corporations. And often the extraction of such material is done very unsafely at the risk of workers, who are often, almost always, improperly shielded against the radiation. And on top of that, the extraction of such material can also leave behind radioactive debris, which is a huge problem because, again, when it's done to powerless people, corporations don't pay for the cleanup after the fact, after the vein goes dry. So it's, it has problems around the periphery, but the actual energy generation is clean AF, as the saying goes. I think if we invested in a lot of the safety nets around nuclear energy, it would be a lot safer and people would be a lot more comfortable with it. God, doesn't most of the nuclear material for reactors in this part of the world get mined by robots in Canada? I mean, maybe now, but historically, no. I can't recall the name of the reservation. Yeah, in 1944 in New Mexico and throughout the 50s, large uranium deposits. Before a lot of the mining took place before the EPA. Yeah, so just in case folks don't know, a lot of mining for uranium took place in the United States on indigenous lands, on reservations, one in particular being a reservation for the Navajo people. And yeah, it was not good in a lot of different ways, to say the least. Workers were, of course, exposed directly to radiation.
Done a bit of research into this, and we've basically solved nuclear to the point where another Chernobyl is extremely unlikely to happen. That plus the energy efficiency makes nuclear the best option.
I mean, nuclear is one of the options, right? And we'll get to that in a bit, but I want to finish talking about the Navajo reservation, right? Yeah, in the Southwest, the Southwest Navajo reservation. But basically, mining took place for a very prolonged period of time, starting in the 1940s. And then in the 1950s, the Department of Health and Human Services started, human testing on Navajo miners who were extracting plutonium without their knowledge or consent. And, a lot of that shit was to figure out the effects of long-term radiation poisoning. So a lot of indigenous people who were mining uranium died horrible, horrible deaths while the US government watched and took detailed notes. And it was not good. Like, the entire thing is, nuclear energy, on paper, we can absolutely, mine it safely, right? On paper, we can absolutely dispose of it safely. In practice, that has not been necessarily the case, historically. Now, if we had better regulations, if we had better oversight, if we had a lot of different policies around it, could we make nuclear much better than it currently is? Absolutely. But one of the big problems right now is the companies that run these things do not do that. Yeah, in a lot of places, spent nuclear fuel is stored on site and not very safely. So you get leakages and shit. It's not great. Now, as for energy generation, the answer is never just all nuclear, obviously, but it has to be diverse. We have to have solar, we have to have wind, we have to have novel approaches to both harnessing both of those effects. We also need, in some places, nuclear energy, and there are different ways of doing nuclear energy. It can be I'm a little partial to modular nuclear reactors. I think they're pretty neat. Their design also just is not capable of producing a nuclear meltdown, which I quite like. But we need a wide variety of solutions because different areas of the world are going to have different needs. Modern breeder reactors use so little fuel we could power them for a millennia with it. Yep. Waste disposal has a pretty big NIMBY problem. Everyone agrees it should be stored safely, just not here. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Now, I will say we could address some of that problem with recycling. Why are some green activists anti-nuclear? Because there have been nuclear accidents and like hundreds of people had like died, thousands of people got sick, tens of thousands of people had to leave their homes. And like yeah, it's not great. But all that to say is I think nuclear can be part of our solution. Unironically, Magical Girl Madness, one of the ideas people spent money researching was, could we launch nuclear waste into the sun? And the answer is we could, but more importantly, people are very concerned that bringing the materials up into space, something could go wrong with that rocket or spacecraft, and then you just have a bunch of radioactive material dispersed across our atmosphere, which is terrible. It's not good. Very bad. And also, like, the fuel efficiency of then using the rockets in the first place. Whatever. I could go on about this for a long time. That suffice it to say, nuclear energy has problems, mostly with the way it is implemented under our capitalist system, where cutting corners is encouraged. And we should be building more nuclear reactors, but we also should be having a political revolution to tighten those regulations.
I also heard recently that a solar farm in China was the catalyst for turning a desert back into a green environment. Maybe we could power someplace like Arizona while fighting desertification.
I'm pretty sure Arizona is already has a lot of solar. Let's see, 13% of the power grid in Arizona is solar. And I would say that, yeah, with geoengineering on top of like building solar panels, yes, you can fight desertification, which is really, really cool. But again, that takes government investment. It's a massive project that would, obviously create a lot of jobs, but Republicans are allergic to creating jobs and investing in, the planet not dying. Okay, back to Glenn Beck, because I was agreeing with him for a hot second.
Produced. Let me say that again. It is the safest energy man has ever produced. But you can't have it. I can't have it. I need energy for my house. I need energy for my office. No, you don't get it. Sorry, try a windmill. But that doesn't work. Well, work when it's windy during.
Again, like, what if we harness the gigantic fusion reactor that is burning all the time in the sky? What if we did that? Seems like maybe we should. Also, again, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you have grid scale energy storage, if the wind isn't blowing all the time, that's fine, because when it is blowing, you can then save up energy for when the grid is taxed. This is why grid scale energy storage is a really important thing for us to build up as we continue to delve into battery technology. Which, by the way, there's a lot of really cool ideas for grid scale energy storage. Several new advances in batteries, like salt batteries. I think like sand batteries, like heat batteries, are another thing. There's a lot of really cool ideas. And finally, there is investment there because of the need to shift to renewables. But once you get like grid scale energy storage, it doesn't matter that the sun isn't out all the time. It doesn't matter that the wind isn't blowing all the time, because you just store the energy from when the sun is out and demand is low. And if you have enough like generation from solar and wind, like, to meet that demand, then when demand drops and like the wind picks up or demand is low and the sun is out, like, wowee, you store up energy and you have a self-sustaining system. It's not that difficult to figure out.
Scientists solving problems politicians refuse to fix since literally forever.
Yep. You're white, so being left-wing is kind of stupid? Nah, the stupidest thing you can be is a conservative, my friend. Don't worry about it. Like, I don't know. Open a book sometime. I implore you. Let's continue though, shall we? Oh, Twitch chat be wildin'.
Okay. But now that AI, now that these giant corporations need the energy, and there's no way for them to make the energy fast enough and big enough.
Well, there it is. It's called building more solar panels or more wind turbines. Or building more efficient solar panels and more efficient wind turbines. They're making those all the time. The advancements they've made are crazy. Perovskite crystal solar panels, game-changing.
All of a sudden, green lights are everywhere. Notice nobody's talking about, we can't have all these nuclear power plants. We can't do that. 10 nuclear power plants are now being green lighted and financed by our Treasury Department. Okay. Which is a good thing. If we don't have energy, we lose all of it. All of it. These server farms have to have energy. And
well, what if we just didn't have the server farms? You know, what if we didn't just offload the ability and the skill of thinking to something that doesn't think at all?
I warn you, gang, if we don't build them, what's going to happen? Do you really think that you're going to get the power? That Ace Hardware is going to get the power over a Home Depot? Do you think your house is going to get the power over a Google server? Nope. They will start rationing for everyone else to put all of it into the server farms. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen.
Gee, if only there was some kind of government that could regulate businesses to prevent that from happening. Too bad Republicans are against that.
So this is really, really good for the American people. But again, like I said, I'm kind of pissed because my whole life I've believed in nuclear energy and everybody's been against it. How many Chernobyl movies do we need to make? How many lies about Chernobyl do we have to hear? How many lies do we have to hear about what happened in Japan?
What?
Or my favorite, 3 Mile Island.
Oh no, Glenn is a good guy now? No, he's not.
No one died. No one died. Stu, wasn't that just steam that was let out with such low emissions that it didn't affect anything at 3 Mile Island? Yet that was, people quoted that forever.
Also, 31 people died in Chernobyl? Like, what are you talking about? Also, I'm pretty sure the Fukushima disaster, like, people died. Deaths, 1 confirmed from radiation and 2,202 from evacuation.
Oh baby, just 1 month away from 2 years.
Like, the Fukushima exclusion zone you still can't go into. I mean, legally anyway. Some people do go into it. But like, what do you mean the lies? Does Glenn Beck not believe that radiation is a thing?
Yeah, the maximum radiation released was the equivalent of a chest X-ray. The maximum exposure. And
that stopped everything. That stopped everything. That happened, and that movie by Jane Fonda, the China.
Oh boy. Okay, so he's just wrong. Like, if anyone wants better information about nuclear energy, yeah, exactly. Go watch Kyle Hill. Kyle Hill is a great series about nuclear disasters that I have found to be pretty level-headed and fair about like the dangers, while also making sure to cover how the industry and how the technology changed as a result of the disasters.
Syndrome, which by the way is really good, but the China syndrome came out at the same time, and everyone said no to nuclear energy. And can you imagine if we had nuclear energy right now, how far ahead we would be? Do you imagine? I can guarantee you we would be using hydrogen cars right now, because hydrogen can be made in the off hours. You have these nuclear power plants, when everybody goes to bed, they just keep the plant running. Instead of turning it down, you just keep it running at a high level, and you can make hydrogen for cars all night long. Oh my gosh, it is so frustrating. It just goes to show you who act.
I'm really confused. I'm really confused about his statement on hydrogen. Like, I'm pretty sure that the cooling rods, create steam. Like I guess technically the steam is made out of H2O. So I suppose in a way there is some hydrogen being made. I know he's talking about hydrogen fuel cells, but like I don't know what he's talking about when he says like, "Oh yeah, we'll just make hydrogen in our off hours." Okay.
Actually rules the world. Is it you or the giant corporations? It's the giant corporations. And it's really, I hate coming to that realization. I liked living in my little utopian world where everything was happy. Everything's like, oh, you know what?
This guy wants to live in the Fallout universe where everyone had nuclear batteries power everything from guns to alarm clocks.
I'm still waiting for him to get to the part where we're like halfway through and this video claims to prove who really runs the world, and I feel like we haven't gotten to the headline yet. Also, to be fair, the Fallout universe is just a hyperbolized version of the 1950s, sci-fi pulp and like current science achievements, right? Like they were doing objectively crazy things with nuclear like elements in the 1950s. Like they did come up with a car that had like a little like nuclear fuel cell in it. They did make these things. They sold a children's toy that allowed you to experiment with radioactive substances. Again, they sold that to children. Like they experimented on a wide scale with radioactive farming, relatively wide scale. And that's where we get like pink grapefruit. Yeah, if you guys have ever eaten a grapefruit that looks like this, that's thanks to nuclear experimentation with irradiated plants. They would just have like a radioactive tower and then farm around it to see what would happen to the plants and see if they got any like cool or interesting mutations. And one of the mutations turned this pink. So yeah, that's ever eaten this? Nuclear radiation made it.
Oh, we're really good. No, we're the Constitution Republic people. Listen to us. Our politicians react to us. They really don't. They really don't. But they can. They can. We just have to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. And believe me, anything that they can do
rad roaches
to be able to shut you down and control you. And what is the best way to control people? It's the best way to control people. What is the absolute positively, I can control everything you do.
Nuclear energy. Nailed it.
If I can control 3 or 4 things. Your food, your medicine, your energy, and your money. Because if I have your money, I can control where you buy food, what you buy. I can control where you travel to, how you travel. Oh, sorry, you can't go on an airplane. Too dirty for you. Leonardo DiCaprio needs that because he's going to go give a speech about global warming. So we're going to give him your credit so you can't have it. They control your money. If they control your food, if they control your medicine, are you noticing a trend? Everything that is happening here, they're killing our farmers. There's your food. They're slaughtering our farmers.
Who are they?
Metaphorically, our farmers are going out of business. Our ranchers are going. There's no reason we use.
Like, has he? I'm sorry. Did I miss it? Did I tune out because I was trying to find an article about nuclear farming and nuclear gardening in the 1950s? Like, who is they?
To be the bread.
Who are the farmer serial killers?
basket of the entire world. Why aren't we still? Well, because we had to play in this global atmosphere. I don't want to play in the global atmosphere anymore. I don't.
The globalists, the woke globalists. Is that who he's saying is killing us? Killing the farmers?
I don't believe in all that crap.
A bunch of blue-haired lesbians descended on Iowa, and the farmers are gone.
I'll sell it to the globe, but why are we taking it in the shorts? Our people are hurting. We're buying our food, which we used to make here. We're buying it for overseas, and our farmers are going out of business. All this farmland, and who's gobbling it up? Who's gobbling it up?
The wealthy capitalist class, the billionaire class.
People like Bill Gates. These giant industrial...
I'm actually genuinely surprised.
Farms. Okay. And if they can control your electricity already, I think it's in Mexico. I know it's South America, but I think it's in Mexico. They're already having problems with some of these server farms. They're already having rolling brownouts in some towns in Mexico just to keep the servers going. And if your servers run everything, you imagine you're on the East Coast and your servers start to go down. Do you think because our entire economy, our whole system of money, banking, the stock market, everything, it's all on server farms? No, it has to have, that's priority. That's priority.
Okay, well, no. Our entire world isn't on AI server farms. They're on servers, but they're not all on, like, in AI data centers.
It'll be priority for that. Maybe hospitals, unless they just want to continue to reduce the surplus population, to quote Scrooge.
What? Does Glenn Beck think hospitals just kill you? Wait, what? Does he think hospitals are just Logan's running folks? Also, hospitals typically have their own in-house medical system. Like, that's why there are so many medical coders. Like, and that's why, like, their systems infamously don't, like, communicate with each other very well.
But it'll all go to the server farms before it goes to your farm, your house. Guarantee it. So, good news, I guess, on that one. The New York Times, this makes me so nervous. Wait, Stu, what? Why'd you make that face?
I mean, I get what you're saying, that in theory, this electricity might go to sources that you don't benefit from. But the promise of nuclear energy is it's basically unlimited. It is that.
These are smaller.
Yeah.
These are smaller plants. These are designed for the server farms, not for the public.
I agree with that, but I don't know. I kind of take it as closer to proof of concept than anything else.
Me too.
If they dump money into these things and they're successful and there aren't massive problems, which all of these things I think would.
I mean, the massive problem would be the fact that they're doing all of this in service of a technology that doesn't fundamentally work or add any kind of value to our society. That's kind of the big problem. The problem is inherent not in the server farm. Clearly, we can build server farm infrastructure. The problem lies in the fact that the thing that the server farms enable to function is fundamentally worthless to most human beings. And also drives them insane, makes them dumber, and will kill them.
Be the expectation. I think that there's a chance we might have a world that's not that far away, where we have relatively cheap, energy in perpetuity, and like that's, I mean, that's a massive promise and worth a little bit of risk of some of this stuff going to the wrong sources.
I think you're absolutely right. But what time is it? Oh, it's 2025. Next year is an election. Let's see how that works out. You know what I mean? I talked to the president about this, and I said, you've got to get those power plants deep in construction. You've got to find a way to make sure those things are bulletproof, or it won't happen.
Oh, okay. So Glenn Beck is still very much in favor of all of these data centers existing. He's just saying, well, obviously, rather than prioritize lives, we have to prioritize the data centers, the AI data centers. He talked to the president. Yeah, you guys might not be aware of this, but Glenn Beck is kind of a big deal in conservative circles. We don't talk about him much because I find him pretty boring. But like, he's got a decent amount of influence, you know?
You lose the election in 2028, they're not opening. They're not opening. It won't happen because you've got the left. And maybe it will happen, but it will never then be transferred to you. You won't get one. You're going to have a windmill, and you might just.
Why would you get why would you, like, he's making the argument like you are going to personally get a nuclear power plant. Why would an individual get that? They're already building nuclear power plants for civilian use. If we get a president in office that can, like, invest in battery tech, then we can just also have renewable energy and nuclear in places where it makes sense to do either, you know? God.
To make it super efficient, it might be like one of those windmills from Holland, with the wood pegs in it.
You know, those wooden windmills in Holland were, like, incredibly useful. Like, they were genuinely useful. It provided free power to make it easy for them to make food. Okay.
You may not get a real modern windmill. You'll get one that also doesn't work, but is really, really super old. One of the things that bothers me, Stu, and I want to take a quick break and then come back to this. This is the New York Times. Why the AI boom is unlike the .com boom. Wall Street Journal. Wall Street is shaking off fears of an AI bubble. Okay. And just to make it even a little scarier, Jim Cramer just came out and said, keep your money in this AI stuff. Whatever he says seems to go the opposite. So I don't know, but
I'm genuinely confused, because it seemed like before he was saying, well, the modular reactors should go in. We need to push through these modular reactors for the data centers. But now he's saying, like, the entire industry is going to collapse. Why on earth would we want to go forward with nuclear power plants for the data centers? Why are you telling Donald Trump to push ahead with the nuclear power plants for the data centers instead of getting him to stop building the data centers? If you think the bubble is going to collapse, why even, like, why bother about, like, well, look, yeah, these data center power plants will be fundamentally useless because the AI bubble is going to pop, but maybe they'll switch over those sweet nuclear power plants to the rest of society out of the goodness of their hearts. Or, maybe because you're building nuclear for these data centers, you should build nuclear for the people. It seems very incoherent to me.
We in an AI boom or a bubble. Well, while we talk about that, maybe it keeps us from talking about the real thing that is coming with AI, and that is the employment bubble, because I think the employment bubble is going to pop soon. And
no,
that's when people are going to come with pitchforks and torches to the government and to these giant companies that are pushing AI. I mean, this is something I've been talking about since probably 2005. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm really super excited that I started working on an AI project. But
the bubble's gonna burst, ha 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 ha, but I started working on an AI project. Fuck you, man.
We're not firing anybody. We're still hiring people. We're just tripling our output to do more. But when joblessness really starts to hit, that's a problem.
Yeah. No shit, Sherlock. What has a society made up of entirely unemployed people historically done? What that was bad for, I don't know, national stability. AI is already putting people out of work. See, I agree that AI is definitely putting people out of work, but I am skeptical that AI is going to long term be putting those people out of those jobs. Does that make sense? Like, AI is pretty bad at its job, and it's pretty unreliable, and it's pretty easily manipulated. And it just kind of seems like at a certain point, the companies are going to be like, "Yeah, this isn't actually saving us money." I don't know about that. Look at Windows 11, it sucks. AI heavily involved. It's true. By the way, I found a script earlier today that allows you to strip AI out of Windows 11. I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. If it works, I'll share it with you guys. All that being said, look, the AI bubble is gonna burst. Even Glenn Beck is kind of going like, ha ha ha, it's gonna burst. It's gonna burst sooner rather than later. And when it does, folks, please make sure you're taking care of yourselves. But also, yeah, nuclear energy is not the silver bullet for climate change, but it can be part of the solution. And I think that would be great, especially if we can do it safely and properly regulated. All that being said, I think AI concerns over AI are pretty overblown vis-a-vis the job market. Again, when a lot of these AI companies go down, their infrastructure is also going to go down with them. And a lot of this AI tech is not going to be able to function. So I think that we are ultimately going to triumph over AI in this current era. And I'm excited to kind of see that come to fruition. Anyway, all that being said, surprisingly, I think he's correct, though I think Glenn Beck was somewhat correct in this video by pointing at people like Bill Gates. But, Bill Gates alone isn't the issue. It is the entire billionaire, millionaire, capitalist class. It is our fundamental relationship between us as workers and those who own the capital, the places we work, the machines we use, etc. Yeah, he's correct, but for the wrong reasons and slightly askew in a way that basically makes his entire point just kind of like attacking a boogeyman of the left, Bill Gates, rather than pointing out that as a class, billionaires are the problem. As a class, capitalists are the problem. Now, all that being said, got anything out of this? Like the show, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc. You guys make this show possible. Couldn't do it without you. And also, folks, join your local Dems, radicalize them, join your local DSA, make them more effective. And our community can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help reaching your local Dems, reach out to Gamergy for help reaching your local DSA. And last but not least, certainly check out ImogeneOlivia.com. It's gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. It's non-tucking. We also tested it with cis men and cis women and also non-binary folks. And everyone who has tried it finds it extremely comfortable and also beautiful. It is designed with a world-class talent, and you should check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com, and link down in the doobly-doo. All that being said, let's keep on going.
Riverboat deck is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard.